Well, hello, everyone. I'm Jill Bloom, Group Publisher of Roofing Contractor, Walls and Ceilings and Building Enclosure, and welcome to a special edition of Roofing Contractor's Best of Success podcast series. And I'm so honored to be here with Trent Cotney, partner with Adams and Reese. Trent, thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, Jill, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Most definitely. Well, it is the 30th of September. We're finally having a chance to get on the phone. You live in Tampa, Florida, for goodness sake. Trent, can you please first tell everybody, so glad to see you have power because you're here on Zoom with me, but what's it look like out there? How did you get home? Like, just give everybody a quick update. What are you seeing?
Yeah, so we were fortunate in Tampa. There are some trees down and some minor damage to landscaping, fencing, stuff like that. But we managed to kind of dodge a bullet, at least in the major major metropolitan Tampa area. Further south, Fort Myers, Naples area, just absolute devastation. I've got some friends down there, and their houses are gone. I mean, it's the amount of damage that occurred, not just from the sustained winds, which in certain places were, upwards of 150 miles per hour, but the storm surge absolutely just destroyed everything in its path. Worst damage that I've seen since Andrew, and the worst hurricane I've ever been through, and living, the majority of my life in Florida, both in Jacksonville and in Tampa. Just incredible amounts of devastation. My heart really goes out for not just my friends and family that are down south, but everyone that's been affected by this. It's a cataclysmic type event that hopefully we won't see for hundreds of years to come. But I really feel bad for everyone that's suffering down south of us.
Wow. Yes, us too. Prayers go out to everybody. And again, so glad you're safe. But so it sounds like every 30 minutes you're getting a phone call from a contractor trying to come down to figure out how they can help. And you were just saying, can you start by telling all the contractors that are listening, what do you need to know if you're out of state and you want to come down to Florida?
Yeah, so if you're an out-of-state contractor, one of the things that you need to understand is Florida is one of the most heavily regulated construction states in the United States. They have very strict licensing rules that are not waived during a state of emergency like we are in now. Okay, so if you are, let's say you're an out-of-state roofing contractor and you want to come down here and do work, you must have a Florida license. Okay, if you don't have a Florida license to do work, it is a potential third-degree felony because we are in a state of emergency. There's a statute under Chapter 49.127 in Florida that talks about the fact that during a state of emergency, that it is a felony to engage in unlicensed contracting, and they enforce that. So how do you do work if you are an out-of-state contractor? Well, let's say you just want to come down, you want to do water restoration or demolition or drywall repair, something that's not a specialty, right? You can do that provided that you are being supervised by a residential contractor, building contractor, or general contractor in the state of Florida. If you want to do something that's specialized like roofing or HVAC or solar or anything like that, you've got to be licensed. The only other thing that you can potentially do is get on the payroll of a Florida licensed roofing contractor. Make sure that they're covering you for comp, they're doing the proper withholding, they're paying you as W-2, all that kind of stuff. And then you can work through that company as an employee, but be very careful because they will be enforcing Florida's regulations as it relates to contractor licensing.
Yeah, it definitely sounds it's strict. The second thing is price gouging. What do contractors need to know about price gouging?
Yeah, so contractors that are here and contractors that come down, there's a lot of work, right? We have been getting calls nonstop for things like blue roof contracts and temporary repairs, insurance and restoration contract, all that kind of stuff, right? And all that work is great, and you can do that work. But the one thing that you want to do is make sure that you are not overinflating the price, right? So if a roof would normally cost you $15,000 to do, you can't suddenly charge $100,000 for it. Okay, the statute in particular, it's Florida statutes, section 501, it talks about the fact that you can't engage in price gouging, but you can modify prices to account for increased costs. So, for example, if you've got greater mobilization cost, or you have to pay more for fasteners in the area, or more for sheathing, or whatever it might be, you can account for that, right? You just can't overinflate prices to the point where it's not reasonable anymore. And that's what they're going to enforce.
Sure. Yeah, no, makes sense. And so, safety, of course, is so important right now. You don't know if there's still standing water, you're not sure really what's there. Hopefully not alligators and snakes. But what can people expect when it comes to OSHA as everything starts to clear up?
Right. So this hurricane hit almost every single area of Florida. I mean, obviously, Fort Myers, Naples area got hit the worst, but it traveled up through Jacksonville and even affected other parts of South Florida on the East Coast. There are 3 OSHA area offices, okay, Jacksonville, Tampa, and Fort Lauderdale. It is a surefire bet that in the next few weeks, OSHA will begin mobilizing for the purposes of inspecting contractors doing work. Do not get lax on safety. A lot of injuries, a lot of fatalities occur in post-hurricane cleanup because of problems with access, the unknowns, like there may be stuff in the water that you're not aware of, adverse conditions, and people just getting lax on safety. OSHA will absolutely be out in force. Make sure that everyone is got the proper PPE, is tied off, and is abiding by those rules and regulations.
Yeah, no doubt. Right now, safety is so important. It always is important, right? Nobody wants to go home hurt ever. Sure. But Trent, thank you so much for your insight to let us know how things are going. Again, prayers to everybody down there. Glad you're safe. If anybody has any questions, clearly your phone is already ringing off the hook, but how does somebody get a hold of you if they need to?
Sure. So they can always email me at trent.cotney@arlaw.com. But for our listeners, let me go ahead and give you my cell phone, which is 813-454-4122. If I don't answer, leave a message and I'll get back to you. I just want to make sure everybody has access during this time so that I can get whatever information you guys need.
Very nice of you, Trent. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody has any questions for us, it's roofingcontractor.com, wconline.com, or buildingenclosureonline.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for all our free content so you can stay safe and up to date on all the details that Trent has to offer. Thanks again, Trent.
Thank you.